Here's a portion of a recent program on Book TV.
I am an immigrant to the United States. I was born in Israel. My family moved here when I was 8, so I mostly grew up here. But I'm a naturalized citizen. I became an American at the age of 19 in the federal building in Newark, New Jersey in 1996. It was a big naturalization ceremony, lots of people from lots of places. And at the end of it, the retired federal judge, as I remember him, he was ancient, but I was 19, so maybe he was like 40. He got up to speak, and I thought he was going to talk about, Lincoln and the founders, and he didn't do anything like that. He gave a very short talk, and he said, from today on, you have to think about America in the first person plural. That was the phrase that he used. And I'm quite sure that I was not the only new citizen there who did not know what that meant, and was very glad that it wasn't on the English test that we just took. But he explained it. He said, from now on, we have to say we and us when we talk about America, not them and they. And that was it. That was all he said. And I remember being disappointed with what he said. But here I am, more than a quarter century later now, telling you about it, because in fact, it was profound. It was exactly what we needed to hear and what we still need to hear. Not just we immigrants, but we Americans. We have to work at finding ways to understand our country, not in terms of they, of those terrible people who are going to ruin everything if they win the next election, but in terms of we, all of us, who in some way share a future in common as Americans. That's not a case for being nice. It's not a case for a truce or even for civility. You make a truce with enemies. Citizens are not enemies. Our options are not war or truce. We are meant to argue with each other precisely because we do share a future in common. We are arguing about that future and what it ought to be. And the stakes are high exactly because we are a we. We is actually a very important word in the American political tradition. It's the first word of that amazing second sentence of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. It's the first word of the Constitution. We, the people of the United States. And that's not a coincidence. Both of those documents are expressed in the first person plural because they are both examples of a people taking ownership of its common fate as a nation, acting together politically. The Declaration expresses a common commitment to a set of ideals that then underlie a decision, an act of separation taken in common. The Constitution builds on that premise, embraces those principles, but it does something that in practical terms may be even more complicated. It establishes a political framework for a society that generally agrees about those fundamental principles, but doesn't agree about much else, doesn't even agree about exactly what those principles mean as a practical matter in a lot of situations, that disagrees about a lot, all the time. The Constitution is exactly about how to make that we a reality as a practical matter in the face of division. And in a sense, that is what this book is about.
You can watch the rest of this program and all of our book programs anytime online at booktv.org.